For the first question, I would say I don't think leadership is easy, but I do think it centers around making choices and making decisions. So, to me, being a strong leader means being able to make what you believe is the best choice for all the given information and variables that you have for any given situation. Um, for a time when I chose to lead when I felt like my department in my building wasn't heading in the right direction. And I wanted to be a part of that change. So I pushed to be made department chair. I struggled for a couple years before that with just not being happy with certain choices being made within the department and kind of the school as a whole. And I kept pushing for appropriate changes, but I wasn't in a leadership position at the time. So finally, I just applied to be the department chair, and I luckily I got it. So since taking on that role, and now in my new position as math specialist, I feel like my focus has really been on trying to improve the department as a whole and trying to be aware of all the relevant information so that I can always make the best decisions possible for my teachers and our students. For the second question, um, I really like the author's definition of a leader because when I think of great leaders that I've either worked under or worked with in the past, they've all had the common trait of inspiring me and others to do the best without having to like explicitly say what exactly it is that they expect of us. So I think a lot of it has to do with leading through actions and not just saying what you want, but kind of being the physical model of what you expect others around you to exhibit as well. I've always been really organized, almost overly organized, some might say, but I feel like that's one of my strengths, my organization, and I've always been an advocate for trying new things. I think those are probably my two biggest strengths as a teacher. And before I had my leadership role, I was still really active within my department. I was teaching the upper level courses, and a lot of people would come to me with questions about the content. I just wasn't in a leadership role at that point, but I still kind of demonstrated or acted as a leader in that sense. Um, but they would, sorry, I lost my place. Sorry, but before I had my leadership role, though, I was still active within my department, and mainly by promoting those two traits amongst my colleagues. I would always be trying to share the different spreadsheets and stuff that I use to organize my resources and my course maps and all that stuff. And I was always trying new strategies, whether it was blended strategies or just new resources, Desmos, and those kinds of things that I found online. And I always tried to share those ideas and those resources with others. And so I think because of that, or because of those traits, when I finally did take on a leadership role, it was easier for others to kind of buy into the things that I asked them to do or the ideas that I had for our department because they knew that I myself was willing to try those same things. And so I would be there to support them in the process because they already have the experience of me doing so before I was the leader of the department. So I kind of think like a successful progression in leadership is demonstrating the actions and traits you wish others to exhibit, whether you have authority or not, so that when you finally do have the authority or that role, that leadership role, your words kind of carry more weight because they've already seen the actions behind them. For the third question, the say-do gap one, I would say my say-do gap is pretty narrow in my role as math specialist and department chair as far as setting the expectations for my department. I tend to lead by example, so the things I ask my colleagues to do are often the same kind of things that I'm already doing in my own class or things that I'm also going to be implementing into my own teaching along with them at the same time. So I kind of feel like that builds a sense of camaraderie and makes it easier for others to buy into it. When they see me doing the things that I'm asking them to do, they know that it's not just empty words and I'm not just saying do it, but they know that I'm kind of in the trenches with them as well. One area that I do feel like I need to improve on is the say-do gap is kind of as a math specialist, I've wanted to do more coaching of my teachers in the department this year. Um, but I had plans at the beginning of the year to use the walkthrough books that we've been doing a lot of PLs with this year to help my teachers in the department kind of focus in on areas where they need or they would like to improve on. We began the process towards the beginning of the year, but I just have kind of run out of time recently to totally follow through with the support that I promised them within the process. It wasn't intentional. It's just this was something brand new that I kind of chose to take on top of everything else. And I'm also currently teaching a class, dual enrollment course, which has taken up a lot of my math specialist time. And so it's just lately things have just kind of all stacked up and kind of perfect storm the timing of everything. It's just fallen off to the wayside a little bit. So I definitely want to, moving into the spring semester, refocus more of my time into that coaching role and trying to support members of my department with the walkthrough stuff. And then for the last question, 5 years from now. So in 5 years, I'd really like to be a leader within the math community of our county as a whole, rather than just my building. I feel as though I have a really strong grasp of the math content. I've been teaching the upper level courses for a very long time now. I feel very confident in my ability as a math teacher. And I also feel like because of the Vanguard program, I'm kind of at the forefront of some new teaching strategies, and I've really been promoting them hard within my department and within my whole building um, to really help other teachers explore and implement them. So I love trying new technology and different resources to maximize student engagement and discourse. That's really been a big focus of mine within my own department. The last couple of years is trying to restructure how we do things in our classes to really drive those two things, engagement and discourse. So I would really like to take that beyond just my own building and really start to promote it within the entire county. So I think I can make this goal happen if I just keep leading within my building, and I can try different things within my department and other departments within my building, and then just kind of naturally expand beyond. But really, as a math specialist, we have our own little group of all the secondary math specialists. So I would like to keep sharing out ideas that I have and that I try within my own building with other math specialists to try and inspire them to take those new things and try them and push their students and their teachers to try those new things as well. I've kind of done this a little bit already. I'm a very big proponent of Desmos. I think it's a really, really powerful resource for teachers, not just math teachers. I created a blended PL on playlists that I'm going to be running next week for my whole building to try and show. Part of that is a Desmos activity that I really want teachers in other disciplines to see, that it's not just a math thing, but it's a really powerful tool, especially as far as feedback goes for students. So I'd really just kind of like to continue on that same kind of path, just sharing out new ideas with other specialists to help promote those things within other buildings within the county.